Hey everyone, wanted to do another one of my quick videos for those with the 2017 Jaguar F-Type Premium 2017 rear-wheel drive. If you had the problem I was having, which kind of crept up and kind of thought it was just other things, but this is the RPM level that your car should be at. It should be just about 700 and 750 RPM when it's idling. After you've turned it on, after it's kind of like, you know, sort of warmed up, it'll rev kind of high, and then around 1500 RPM kind of blows all the crap out the back, and then it eventually should level off. I have the heater on, but if I turn everything off, that shouldn't really affect anything. It should still sit right about there. If you're seeing it around 600 or below the 700 tick mark, and sometimes when you first start the car and you start driving and you feel like you brake, like I would notice that when I would brake coming down my parking garage at work, at the bottom of the ramp, as I would brake, and it's kind of a little bit more strain on the system. As you're doing that on the hill, you would see it kind of dip a little bit, almost like it wants to stall. There's no codes, and it does that maybe sometimes while you're idling. You'll feel it kind of like drop a little bit, especially when the AC comes on, or it's taking too long to kind of sort of compensate for that. That's because of the mass airflow pressure sensor. This is the one that's originally off my car. See if I can get a good view of that. You'll notice that the profile of the side of it, and none of that really matters so much. This sits flat, and there's a hole in the top of the engine block, and I'll show you where that is shortly. This has 3 prongs, and it has a little catch, 2 little nips on the top. And if you look at the bottom, it'll show the little barcode, which doesn't really bring up anything. It's more for... But let me see if I can get a good view of that. I don't think I can, not with in video mode. But there's the number that's on there, and there's also the number on the back, and you'll have a hard time finding this part specifically without going straight to Jaguar. I was lucky enough to find this one online on eBay, and the replacement is just kind of a blank version of that. It doesn't have any numbers on it, but that's the number and information I got it from. I'll see if I can remember to look up who the actual seller was on eBay and give them the credit they deserve. So let's go take a look at where this sucker goes. And when you do remove this, make sure you don't get any debris in there. It does go straight to the intake after the air filters, so any dust, any crap or anything like that falls in there, you're going to be sucking that into your engine. So just make sure you blow off with like a leaf blower any dust or anything that's on the top of your engine. So let's go take a look and see where this is at. You also note that my car is sounding as it should. If I open up the ports there, you should see how that comes back down and sits right where it's supposed to. What I noticed before is that mine was kind of like going like too far down and then back up and like that. That's a sensor. Now if you can't find one, they say you can put a little bit of alcohol, 90% rubbing alcohol, nothing less. Try to get it inside that little tube, let it sit, agitate, and then air it out really good, and you might be able to recover it. I did that with this one after I took it out, but I decided that I'm just gonna go ahead and put the new one in because that's why I bought it, right? Now I was lucky I got mine for I think it was about 20 bucks, but normally brand new this thing is about 100 and something, and that's a lot to spend on something like that, just a piece of plastic. So yeah, mind the noise. Actually I think I'll turn the car off. There we go. So that sensor is going to be located right here, and let me see, I should have had all this kind of prepped, but I just decided to do this last minute as usual. But you got to be careful you don't hit any of those plastic tubes when you're taking off your cover. You want to make sure you don't hit this part right here. I did that when I first got the car. It just snapped right off and sprayed coolant all in my face. Got in my mouth too. It tastes like crap. Got in my eyes. Luckily it wasn't super hot when I did it. It didn't really burn my eyes, but it did taste terrible for about 2 days in my mouth from that stuff. Make whatever jokes you'd like. But the spot you're looking for is right here. There's a little, the harness here. This kind of harness, what you do is you lift up and then pull it back, and that's how you get that off. just in case you're wondering. Let's see if I get the light on there. So that little screw is kind of difficult to get to because this is in the way. You could try to unplug this to give yourself some clearance. I wouldn't want to remove this, so I didn't. What I do is I had to kind of like go at an angle to remove it. Once you pull that up and out, just make sure you don't drop any debris or anything in there. And the bit that I used to get that out, if I can remember, my gritty old toolkit here, was, I believe, this Torx right here. Yeah, because you can see where I scraped it up. I think it's a T27. That's what it was. But I'll verify that for you guys, because why not, right? And I use a magnet on a little stick magnet next to it in case I drop it, it doesn't go too far. So you're gonna see here, I had to use this bendy to kind of get around there. And it goes right like that. Boom. Now, when I tightened it with this thing, and I can't, you know, hopefully you don't over torque it. You really can't with this. You kind of get only so far, and then it just. But make sure it is snug. You don't want that sucker coming loose while you're driving, or vibration causing it to come loose. But you can see there's the new one, kind of blank. See that there's some slight differences on it, but none of that really matters as long as it's the one that's meant for your vehicle. And the reason you want it to have that little step up instead of it being flush is because it needs to clear that little part right there. So that's it. Change that out, and then make sure I put a little bit of gun oil, because that's just what I had, right around this little seal on the new one. Not too much, just a little bit, just so that way it kind of eased in better. And that's pretty much it. That took care of my problem. Easy fix. Hope this helps at least somebody. All right, thanks. Bye.